Mike Quincy, automotive content specialist for Consumer Reports, is back with us tonight. In the March issue of Consumer Reports magazine, there's a focus on rating the heavy load haulers, the sports utility vehicles. But we started by asking Mike what vehicle he was driving and evaluating the day he was here.
Today I showed up at the lovely studios of WGBY in the brand new Chevrolet Colorado, and by I mean brand new. It's a new design. It's a mid-sized pickup truck. I'm really glad that GM decided to continue making these smaller trucks because Ford has basically walked away. They discontinued their Ranger. So really the only games in town were the Toyota Tacoma and the Nissan Frontier, and to a fringe side, the Honda Ridgeline. So Consumer Reports has bought our new Chevrolet Colorado. We're going to be putting it through our test paces, and by new, I mean we picked it up just about 3 days ago.
How did it feel doing something? You must have hit some icy patches coming up from Connecticut this morning early.
Well, luckily it has four-wheel drive, but it's a permanent system, so it's not like all-wheel drive, which it's real old school. It can catch you off guard with a model where you can keep the four-wheel drive engaged at all times. If you come across some snow or ice, you're going to have a little bit more of a chance of getting out of it. But luckily, this morning's drive was okay. The thing I do miss, though, we didn't get a real fancy model, so I had no heated seats. Oh gosh, he had no heated seats. He's suffering. No, it's a really decent truck, good strong V6 engine, fair amount of room inside, and we'll see how it pans out.
Okay, March issue, Consumer Reports. The ratings this month, as I understand it, looking at the big load haulers, the SUVs that are so popular. You drive down the street and it seems like every other car these days is an SUV. They've really taken over the U.S. automotive market, it seems.
SUVs are extremely popular. I mean, back in the day, families used to get station wagons, and then it kind of morphed into minivans. And I want to say in the last 10, 15 years, it's been all about SUVs. They're really selling it to the families with young kids. And the March issue of Consumer Reports has one of the best. It kind of straddles the line, the Subaru Outback. I mean, we talk about Subaru all the time on this show and every other media outlet because they say it's the car of New England. And oftentimes when people say, Mike, what's the best SUV? Oftentimes my answer is a really good wagon. And in this case, it's got to be the Outback.
I know you call the Outback maybe the best way to reconcile your weekday commute with your weekend chores.
Right, because it has so much room inside. The redesigned Outback excelled in Consumer Reports test. We tested both the 4-cylinder as well as the 6-cylinder model. 4 cylinders bringing home 24 miles per gallon overall. The 6 cylinders bringing home 22. That's not bad for the segment. But what makes the Outback so incredible is that its usability, the practicality. Fold down the rear seat, you've got a huge cargo bay. It's easy to get in and out of. It has great visibility. It has modern controls. Subaru used to be really lagging behind the rest of the industry with behind the times infotainment, their Bluetooth connections, all that stuff, the way to integrate your phone and the car's electronics. Good to know that this year's Subarus have stepped that up, and that particular area they've really done well in.
Volkswagen Golf, you call it the do-it-all hatchback, comes tantalizingly close to being the one-size-fits-all car.
You know, the Golf is really going to surprise people. Say you don't have the money or the room for an SUV or a wagon, but you still want something kind of fun to drive. The Golf is a great combination of a comfortable ride, good seats, good visibility, really good handling. You're not really sacrificing by saying, well, I'm just getting a Golf, it's just a small car. It's much more entertaining than you think. It's not as top level as Volkswagen's own GTI, but based on the same platform, you're still getting a great European driving experience with the Golf, even at a very affordable price.
I was surprised to read it's got a payload capacity of 1,005 pounds. You look at it, it doesn't look like it does.
Sure, we have this Golf for our commuting, and then we're going to go to Home Depot on the weekends and load it up full of all the stuff we need to take care of our home. It will shock you on how much room is inside. Again, folding down the rear seat turns a car basically into a mini cargo van.
The Honda Fit, you say it's big where it counts, pocket-sized vehicle, but lots of cargo space again.
Again, it's one of those vehicles that doubles as a load hauler as well as people hauler. The Fit was greatly anticipated because the first generation Fit we loved because you could get a manual transmission and it was really sporty, it was really fun to drive, it got great fuel economy. And so we were eagerly anticipating this one. Unfortunately, we think Honda didn't do enough to quell the noise. The Fit is a very, very noisy car. It's a hard riding car. Some of its fun to drive characteristics were kind of softened and thrown aside for maybe more practicality, mainstream livability. But we really think that Honda, they didn't necessarily drop the ball on the Fit, but it's not quite as good, I think, as the last model.
Got to go to a couple of things that it says in the review for the Honda Fit. It said the touchscreen audio system is a frustrating mess, and sitting on a brick wall is more comfortable than the Fit's front seats.
All true statements. The thing about that, I mean, that's a really critical issue. You can't drive the car without sitting in the seats. The basic Honda Fit seats are stiff. They're uncomfortable. They're not supportive. On the up-level models, you can get a leather seat that might be a little bit better, but then all of a sudden the Fit isn't an affordable car anymore. And Honda has completely punted when it comes to their electronics and infotainment. Their touchscreen radios are terrible. Honda's old tagline was, "We keep it simple." There's absolutely nothing simple about the Honda controls.
Let's look at the Ford Transit Connect. You say it's a back-to-basics cargo van, a work-first van that can also handle family duty.
It's one of those kind of hybrids. It's not really a van, it's not really a minivan, it's not really a wagon, it's not really an SUV. Ford took their European model van, which they've used very successfully for years, and the reason I say European is it's smaller than you think of most vans are. It has 3 rows of seats, it has sliding doors, but its work roots are very apparent, even though Honda might try to gussy up some of the trim lines by making the interior a little bit nicer. It's a bit crude. There aren't a lot of electronics. Bluetooth, for example, isn't standard, so good luck pairing your phone unless you get that option. It has tons of room inside. The problem with the Transit Connect is that configuring the interior for cargo, there's like 14 steps to either lower or fold the seats forward. It's an absolute travesty when it comes to simplicity of turning it from a people hauler to a cargo hauler.
You talked about not a lot of creature comforts here. No collision warning, no blind spot monitor, no power sliding doors or tailgate. Those are big deals in a vehicle like this.
Especially when minivan buyers are used to those features when they're coming out of a Toyota Sienna, a Honda Odyssey. All of those creature comforts are readily available, if not standard, on many trim lines. I'm not sure what Ford is doing with the Transit Connect. They've got the basic roots of a decent driving car, decent fuel economy, enough power from the 4-cylinder engine, but they really haven't sweat the details for the conveniences and the features that most families have gotten used to.
I love the final line of the review on the Ford Transit Connect. Your tools and supplies will be happy. Your family, not so much.
Not so much. And if you've got kids like mine, when they're in a car that's kind of uncomfortable and there isn't stuff to do, there isn't rear seat entertainment systems, well, let's just say the natives get a little restless.
Mike Quincy, Consumer Reports. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.